Now, let's look at some aging of information or data. Sometimes you receive numbers that were given to you quite some time ago, either some months ago, maybe some years ago, even weeks ago, but they don't reflect current reality. As an example, if somebody told me their salary was $56,000 as of 10th of November 2015, that's 13 months ago. It's obviously not the same value today because we have a thing called inflation. So I typed in the inflation rate up here, and you can get the inflation rate from any website, the Government of Canada, gc.ca, Stats Canada, so on. And there's various interpretations of inflation rate, but if you just took the 1 year inflation rate, I think you'll be fine. And current, it's 2.10%. Now, what I want to do, because these numbers aren't moving on a yearly basis, they're moving on a monthly basis. I want to take the inflation rate and divide it by 12, and that will actually get me the amount of inflation that moves forward in 1 month. So just generally speaking, inflation increases by 0.2%. It's actually 0.18% per month. So if I took the person's salary, found out how many months have passed, and in this guy's case it's about 11 months, then I could take that monthly inflation rate and age the salary to reflect today. Now I'm going to show you how to do it. Have a look. We'll do it two different ways, okay? Let's click here. First of all, I want to figure out how much time has passed between today, and you remember today is equal NOW, minus the date where we got the salary from, the old date. So the new date minus the old date, and I'll just use some brackets here, right? It says that 335.61 days have passed. Now we're not dealing with days, we're dealing with months, right? So we need to convert the number of days to months. Now a couple of ways to do this. You can divide this by 30.42, and I'll tell you where I got that from. I just took 365 days and I divided it by 12, and that sort of tells you on an average month there's 30.42 days, and that's accurate enough for our purposes. So from January 1st, 2016 to today, it's been 11.03 months, and that actually makes a lot of sense. Now the other way to do it is to take 365 days, and that'll tell you the number of years, right? 0.92 of a year. And we know that there's 12 months in a year. Multiply that by 12, and it tells you 11.03 days. So either way you do it, it doesn't matter, right? Done. And it tells me 11.03 months. So now that we know how many months have passed from here to here, we want to figure out the inflation that has been applied to that number since that time. So let's just multiply the number of months we figured out by the monthly inflation rate, which is I6, not 16. There we go. And that'll tell us that it is actually 0.02. And in fact, the number is something like this, right? So this person's pay that they reported 11 months ago at $42,000, in fact, should be that much higher, okay? So the way you do that is you multiply it by the original pay, and that will tell you how much of an increase to give. Now have a look. It's $810. So this person's adjusted pay or aged pay based on inflation is $42,000 as reported, plus $810 to reflect inflation as of today. Then of course at the end you have to add last year's pay as well, because it's $42,000 plus the increase, and that would be $42,810 or $811, okay, if you want to be accurate. Now the only thing is you can't copy this down, because remember, you might have gotten hundreds of different market pay amounts. You want to copy this down. Just remember, because we're referring to this cell here, I6, you want to find I6 in here, highlight it, and press F4. And that's absolute cell referencing. So when you copy down, that box I6 will not move. Let's have a look. Let's copy that down, and that ages your pay from the previous date to today, adjusted for monthly inflation rate. Now I'm just going to delete these, and I'll show you the other way that I've done it. What I've done here is same thing. Today's date minus the previous date will give you the number of days that have passed. Divide that number by 365 days in a year, and you can do 365.25 if you like. That will give us the number of years that have passed. Now, because we're dealing with 12 months in a year and you want to know the number of months that have passed, you multiply it by 12. That will give us the number of months that have passed, right? Now, take the number of months that have passed, multiply it by the monthly inflation rate, and that will give you the percentage that you need to increase the originally reported pay by. So multiply that by the pay, and then of course don't forget to add the previous pay to it to get the final number. And that's what you have. So have a look at that, do some practice. And I just want to show you one other thing what I've done. So if you highlight rows 13 and 25, you see there's hidden rows in there. Right click, unhide, and I've broken it down step by step for you. Okay, there we go. And I'll post this document as well for you to have a look at.